So right now I'm on the Paper Wishes website. I'm viewing the 23 Blooms and Leaves downloadable cutting file, and I just wanted to go through with you the instructions on how to get those to work with your Silhouette Studio software so that they will cut on your digital cutter. So if you click here for instructions, it says if you're using a Silhouette electronic cutter, click here for instructions. It will take you to this page, which has a step-by-step list of the instructions. And I am using the Silhouette Cameo, just so you know. This will also work with the Silhouette SD, and the files will actually be compatible with several different electronic cutters. If I go back to the page, it lists the following file formats, so GSD, AI, PDF, SVG, and DXF. So you're getting the same shapes, all these shapes here, in each of those file formats. Now, if you're using a Silhouette Cameo, you will be using either the GSD or the DXF file formats. I found that both work fine on the software. So, and one note is that these overlapping shapes will be separate, and they'll be more like these black shapes. So each of these layers will be a separate shape. Okay, so let's pretend that you've already downloaded it to your computer, and it'll arrive in one of your file folders, probably under downloads, in a zipped file. So I have that right here. And it says 23 Bodacious Blossoms.zip. Now to unzip that, I just right click or control click. I'm using a Mac, so I control click and then hit Archive Utility, and then really quickly it unzips the file. So here's the unzipped file. You can dispose of the zipped file when you're done with that. And so I'm going to expand this to show you. So it's got a file folder for each of the formats. So, for example, if I open the SVG, it would have all 6 of these files. Now keep in mind that each of these files has several shapes on it. It's not one shape per file. And you'll find that, for example, if you open the Matilda file, you'll get all the shapes, all the layers for the Matilda flower. And the leaves have all 3 of the leaves, etc. So I'm going to close this out for now. I'm going to open my Silhouette Studio program. And to import this into your library, go up to File, go down to Import to My Library, and I'm going to, let's see, here's all the files, and I'm actually going to do the DXF. So to import it into your library, you have to do one file at a time. So I'm going to hit Bodacious and click OK. And I'll keep it Bodacious keyword. And this is just to help you search for it. If you have a large library, you can enter one or more keywords. And I'll just put Bodacious Blooms as the description. And then I'm just going to select regular cut for the category and hit OK. Now that I've got all my shapes imported into my library, I'm going to go to my library under My Own Designs and double click one of these files. So there's the Lindy. It's right on my blank project here, and I just clicked and dragged, and they all move together. Now, this is nice to have them all grouped together if you want to use all 4 layers as they are. And you can also resize them, make them big or small. But what if I want to kind of play around, maybe take out some of the inner lines of some? You're going to have to ungroup them. So click once onto the object Now make sure that your cursor is a pointing finger here, and then right click or control click, go down to ungroup. Now all the outlines are ungrouped and you can move them separately. So, whoops, so that's what is actually happening. The inner shapes here are all grouped together, but they're moving separately from the outer shapes. So let's see if we can fix that. I'm gonna select by clicking and dragging a bounding box around everything, because I know that all these inner lines are interconnected. I'm gonna right click again. Now go down to release compound path, which I think is what's keeping those inner lines together. So release compound path. Now, each of these lines is selected separately. So now I've gotten everything to be a separate object. But I want to group the inner and outer lines of one individual flower. So again, select the flower. Try not to select another flower at the same time. Make sure all of your inner lines and the outer line have boxes around them. Right click, hit group, and you've got an individual flower. Now if you want to ungroup them, that's also fine, and just if you want to use only the outline, you can click and drag that away from the inner lines and then simply select the inner lines and delete them. So you could do that with all of the flowers if you didn't want these inner cuts to be done. Or if you wanted a flower with an inner flower hole, you could put the inner flower inside the outer flower, and those can also be resized and rotated. So this would cut out the outer flower and the inner flower, so you'd have some fun shapes there. So that's just a few of the things you can do with the flowers. The leaves can obviously be resized and multiplied to whatever number you want. So you've got lots of options. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on how to download and use your downloadable cutting files.